Hey, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Fantasy Books and Games comic book preview stream. I'm Aaron. I'm all by myself right now. I might have somebody join me later. Howdy, Jesse Bells. Thanks for being here. I'm going to be doing a lot of talking by myself. I got my trusty water bottle in case I start to get hoarse. But I've got a mix of things to talk about. There's some interesting looking stuff that comes out tomorrow. But as you might be aware, we didn't do a stream last week because we've just been really, really busy at the store. And so I've got a few books that came out last week that I probably also am going to show off a little bit, even though I haven't had a lot of time to read a lot of this stuff. So I'm not going to be talking too in depth about everything, but just kind of showing off some stuff that I think looks really cool and definitely want to highlight and encourage you to check out on your own. First, what we like to start with. I like to start with Facsimile Comics. That's right, and there's a couple that are coming out tomorrow. Uh, Fantastic Four number 8 is coming out tomorrow. This is a great classic issue of the Fantastic Four. This is the first appearance of the Puppet Master, but also, in my opinion, one of the most important characters in the Fantastic Four, which is the Puppet Master's daughter, Alicia Masters, and she eventually becomes. I guess I don't need to spoil the whole history of Fantastic Four, but she eventually starts up a serious relationship with Ben Grimm, and she kind of becomes his like regular girlfriend. It's a very, very interesting dynamic because she's blind and he's a giant rock monster, and you would feel like they're two characters that are made for each other, but he is constantly agonizing over the fact that she's blind and that he doesn't think he's good enough for her, and that she only is with him because she's blind. And if she could see him, she would just hate him and dump him. And it makes for some high drama that you get in these classic old Fantastic Fours. So this is a particularly good issue of Fantastic Four. I saw finally Marvel. I don't remember if they've said this before, but they're going to reprint the first 12 issues. So looking forward to that because I love me some classic Stanley and Jack Kirby Fantastic Four. Also coming out tomorrow, another facsimile. This is an interesting one. This is Batman Harley Quinn, and this is one of those comics that is it's contested, not contested, but just the way like comic collecting goes. This is one of two comics that gets to claim that it's the first appearance of Harley Quinn because in she was first appeared in a comic book in the Batman Adventures series. So that's the first appearance, but that was an adaptation of the cartoon, so that's why she was in it. This is the first appearance of her in the official uh, dark the DCU, the regular continuity of their books. And so this is a classic cover by Alex Ross, just that classic Joker and Harley Quinn. And yeah, this is it's written by Paul Dini and penciled by Yvel Goucher, who I actually do not know how to pronounce that. But yeah, this is kind of the beginning of Harley Quinn in the DC universe. This originally came out in 1999. So yeah, that's nice. That like again, I like that DC is putting out these facsimile reprints just originally as they were originally printed when they came out, and for collectors out there, it's nice to be able to get a copy. Like I know that there's always collected editions and trade paperbacks, but I myself really prefer reading single issues of comic books, and so these facsimiles are just great for that. Also, a book that is not coming out tomorrow. This actually came out last week, and it's also not a real facsimile, so it's just kind of uh, incorrect on everything. But I just have to talk about this because I love this book so much. This is Wolverine by Chris Claremont and Tom Riley. This is a reprint of, it's a one shot, and I think it came out a few years back, like in 2021, I think. And this is beautiful cover by Steve McNiven. And this is one of those retro stories where it takes place in classic 80s continuity, and it's a really straightforward story of just Sabretooth mutilating Wolverine, because back in the old continuity, Sabretooth would show up once a year. This was like established in one of my favorite X-Men comics of all time, where Sabretooth would just show up once a year on Wolverine's birthday and try to kill him. and there wasn't really any rhyme or reason to it. They teased like why that was, but Claremont never got to see the whole story through. So this is just kind of like building on that, where it's just brutal Sabretooth versus Wolverine, and you see a lot of classic X-Men. Rogue in her green outfit with her short hair. There's Colossus is in it, Kitty Pryde, and the real like the reason the reason the reason this is so good is because I love Tom Riley's art, and he really sells just that classic comic book look to it. And Claremont is just in the zone with this. Like he's like I've said before, Claremont has written a lot of stuff since then. Yeah, happy birthday, now die. Yeah, pretty much. It was like so the original idea that never got to actually appear in the comics was that Wolverine was Sabretooth's son, and Sabretooth just hated him. And so Sabretooth would just show up once a year and just try to murder him just to remind him who's boss, who's the top dog. And Wolverine would always lose for a variety of reasons. But now that Wolverine has the X-Men, that's kind of the thing that turns the tide, because Wolverine now has friends. Because Wolverine used to be a loner and he didn't have anybody that had his back, and Sabretooth would just show up and just beat the crap out of him. But yeah, so that's why I really like this comic, because beautiful art. Like I said, classic. Tom Riley is probably one of the best. He's the best professional mainstream comic book artist that's not really doing anything for Marvel or DC. He's been doing the GI Joe comics at Image for the last year and a half, and I guess I'm glad that he's not that Marvel's is not able to hold on to him. No, this is just a one shot. This is purely just a like a addendum to an old 1980s issue of X-Men. But it's still worth getting just because it's just beautifully told. It looks great. Like I said, Claremont is in the zone, and I've always said Claremont's writing really hinges on like the type of artist that he's working with. Yeah, Alex, I'll pull it for you, no problem. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I love classic like tough as nails Wolverine stories where they're and it's a one shot exactly. So there's no huge investment. You just get great art, cool story. Wolverine and Sabretooth getting into a bloody battle, beautiful. It's actually one of my favorite comics that's come out in a long time, because I love like I'm not. I think I've been pretty open about how I'm not really following a lot of the X-Men comics right now, but I love me some classic X-Men, and this just scratched that itch. Like reading this was like reading like a 1984 issue of X-Men. So I absolutely loved it. Also coming out tomorrow, a couple of trade paperbacks that are worth mentioning. Absolute Wonder Woman, Volume 1, the first 6 issues of Absolute Wonder Woman. Excuse me. I know a lot of people have been really anticipating the trade paperbacks, because the Absolute books have been very very popular, and they were not able to get issue 1, and then you kind of just get stuck waiting for the trade paperback. And what's interesting about this is it feels like it's taken a long time for these trade paperbacks to come out, because DC is collecting them. They're kind of sizable volumes, like they're collecting the full 6 issues. I think it is 6 issues. Sorry, 7 issues. The first 7 issues. And it seems like a lot of trade paperbacks these days are like 4 or 5 issues. At least I know that's how they are at Marvel. And so they pump them out really quickly. But like this is substantial. Like this is so yeah. This is the first 7 months of Absolute Wonder Woman. It is the first story arc, which that's another thing I appreciate about the Absolute books, is that they feel substantial, because the stories aren't just like paced for just like a few issues. Price on it is a pretty standard cover price, $17.99 for the first 7 issues. So yeah, I we've talked about this one on the stream before. I kind of think Absolute Wonder Woman is the best of the Absolute books. I might I might personally say Absolute Martian Manhunter, because that first issue just blew me away. But I think we're 5 issues into that, and Wonder Woman has just been consistently great, like really, really, especially for a book that I admittedly went into it not really expecting to love it, but it turns out it's kind of the best one. Uh, and partly the reason for that is definitely the art in it by Hayden Sherman, I believe is the artist. Let's just Hayden Sherman and Matea de Eulis. Let's take a look at some of these pages, because I just want to show off like how beautiful this comic is. Like I've talked about this before, but like the page compositions, it just has that it doesn't it feels epic in like a really actual definition of the word. Uh really what's the I'm blanking on a word, but it just gives it a really classic feel, like they're not just normal comic book panels. Like it's just absolutely beautiful. And also, Wonder Woman has a gigantic sword. Gosh, what more do you want? Wonder Woman with a giant sword. And spoiler alert, it just gets bigger as the series goes on. But yeah, so absolute Wonder Woman, highly, highly recommend. I know it's been a favorite around here. Everybody really loves it. Also coming out tomorrow, worth noting, The Complete Hate Volume 1. This is by cartoonist Peter Bagge. He's one of my favorite cartoonists. I absolutely love his work. He was one of the uh, foundational alternate underground comics artists of the 80s and 90s. Like he kind of, maybe foundational is an awkward word, but he definitely defined that era of Generation X, 80s and 90s, kind of punk rock, anti-authority, uh, uh, satirical comics, like uh, making fun of making fun of his own generation while also raging against the system that the generation hated so much. Just really, really good stuff. His cartooning is really like weird and funny and kind of grotesque in some places, but really, really good. So I'm glad to see this is back in print. I again, if you like weird underground funny comics, highly, highly recommend Hate by Peter Bagge. And I'm sorry, Alex, what was that? Is the Buster Sword from the famous Magic the Gathering set? It's very similar to it. Yes, not too far off. A few other books that came out last week. I just want to briefly mention. Last week, it's so weird. This company has been doing stuff randomly, like off and on over the years. And two books come out last week from Bad Idea Comics. And I don't think they've really put anything in the comic book stores regularly for a couple of years, so you might have forgotten who they are. But they're a small company who's been what's the word? Like they're kind of like jokester pranksters. Like I have had issues with Bad Idea where that they have this problem where they actually get the most interesting creators working on their comics who make some of the best comics ever, like comics that I want to read. And then they kind of go out of their way to make it difficult to find them and get them because they've been very upfront about that they're not going to reprint their books or collect them in trade paperbacks. So you just have to get the issues, which I kind of appreciate because I'm somebody who I said earlier, I just like reading comic book issues. But they also do a lot of jokes with like graded comics and kind of um, like catering to while also making fun of people that speculate for the value of comics. It is not the space book Planet Death. Still waiting on issue 2 of that one. But yeah, so that Planet Death came out last month, and then last week there was Project Chimera: The Hero Trade. This is by two of my absolute favorite creators, Matt Kindt, St. Louis's own Matt Kindt, and also David Lapham. And they did a book. They actually did a this is another hero trade book that they've done already for Bad Idea, but they also did a book called Passive Aggressive, which I really liked, and it's just really, really good. Like kind of non-standard adventure superhero sci-fi stuff. And yeah, just looks great. Like I said, I haven't I'll see you tomorrow, Alex. Thanks for tuning in. I haven't had a chance to read this just yet, but I am super excited to because like I said, they're two of my favorite creators. Highly again, I haven't even read it yet, and I highly recommend it. It's just, I guarantee you, it's going to be cool and great. Also coming out from Bad Idea last week, I should say, also came out last week from Bad Idea is Cul-de-sac, and this is a horror vampire book. This is by Mike Carey, who is a writer, a veteran comics writer that I really like, and art by Jonathan Wayshak. And I'm not familiar with Wayshak's work, but I just opened this book up, and wow, is that a beautiful looking comic! Like holy cow, like this, just these cool designs. Look at this vampire. Like, oh man, this is a cool looking book. I like that it's printed on this like matte, almost newsprint type of paper. It's got the way the pages are colored and his ink work. It reminds me a little bit of Sam Keith. Maybe not quite as stylized, but just the way the page is full and just these like really like you can tell there's a little bit of cartooning going on with the way the characters are presented. Like they're not just presented like photorealistically, which I really like. And yeah, what a great looking comic. There was a preview of this. I think it was in maybe the first Planet Death. I forget where or no, maybe it was oh, I don't even remember. I read a preview for this and it was really cool. So this is another one that I highly recommend. Looking forward to reading it. If you like vampires, if you like horror, if you just like weird, great looking comic books, definitely check out Cul-de-sac. One more book from last week that I have to mention because I it's so rare that I get to talk about a Marvel comic that I really 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 love. But here we are. It is Daredevil: Cold Day in Hell #3, the final issue of this 3 issue story. And man, it is just so cool. Beautiful cover by Steve McNiven, who he did that Wolverine cover I showed earlier. He's doing the art on this, and this is just some of the best work I've ever seen from Steve McNiven. I like he's always been really good, but this is incredible. Beautiful. Like I really like the coloring on it, and the story has been really solid by Charles Soule. And just it's basically old man Daredevil, and you see old Bullseye. This is old Punisher, whose head I guess it's a little gross. He's had all of his limbs removed, so he's you know severely handicapped, but he gets this big mech, and yeah, things get crazy from there. But yeah, this is like man, if I wish all of Marvel's comics were this good because this was incredible. It's a 3 issue prestige series, but wow, it's great. I don't even want to show off too much more from it because I don't want to spoil the ending. But it's really really good. Best Daredevil I've read in years. Best Marvel comic I've read also in years, honestly. Also coming out, I just talked up that Marvel Daredevil Cold Day in Hell, but coming out tomorrow is Predator Kills the Marvel Universe from Marvel. Marvel's been going nuts with the cross promotion tie-ins. Like they've got the Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe, and here we are with Predator Kills the Marvel Universe. This one is continuing from the other Predator crossover series, and they're all from the same writer, Benjamin Percy. He did the what did he do? He did Black Panther and Wolverine and Spider Man, and now he's doing this one. And they're all really solid. We've talked about them on the stream off and on. The opening scene here is the Guardians of the Galaxy just getting absolutely murdered by the Predator, and there's a little bit of a twist, which I'm going to try and not spoil for you. But yeah, this is it's good. I know that there's been a lot of interest in it. Just like look at that Weapon X Predator right there. It's pretty cool. There's some cool imagery. I think, like I said, I think Benjamin Percy is a pretty solid writer. He's one of the better writers at Marvel right now, and yeah, it's kind of cool that it's not just like random Predator crossover books. Like they're kind of building a continuity and a world all kind of tied together. So yeah, it's good stuff. I'm not like I'm not. I was just talking to a friend the other day. I'm kind of like I'm a little burnt out on the Predator. I feel like we got some Predator oversaturation right now. Like they just had the Prey movie. Uh, was that last year or the year before? And there's a Predator animated series, and there's also a new. Is it a show or another movie called Badlands? I don't know. I just keep hearing about all this Predator stuff, and then on top of that, we have these comics, which I think the comics are actually probably the most interesting thing that they've been doing. But that's just me. But yeah, so check it out. Predator Kills the Marvel Universe. I think I like this more than the Godzilla one, honestly. But I guess that really just depends on your movie monster preference. Also coming out tomorrow. This was a pretty interesting one. I really appreciate the cover of this. It is Chasing Amy. Who remembers the movie Chasing Amy from tour filmmaker Kevin Smith? This is actually Quick Stops Volume 3, Number 1. Kevin Smith has been doing this series of miniseries called Quick Stops, which are just short stories that take place in the View Askew universe. And so for this one, this whole issue is, I think I really like this cover, and I forgot to check the uh, who the artists are on this, but this comic is like an in-universe comic. This is the comic Chasing Amy that the character played by Ben Affleck, Holden McNeil, uh, made in the movie. So I really like. I appreciate conceptually like if you're taking the movie as if it's real people, this is the comic that the character makes, and it's presented like that. That's why it's the name of it is Chasing Amy. It's that they kind of it's it works really well where it doesn't just recap the events of the movie, but it does incorporate them into this story because it's an autobiographical comic from the character, Holden, and so he's kind of recreating these scenes as he remembers them. And so there's some like classic scenes kind of remade, but with added commentary from from the character Holden's point of view. Yeah, it looks really good. Like if you're a Kevin Smith fan, I would definitely say check it out. I do have a special place in my heart for Chasing Amy because like it's so difficult to explain this to people these days. But this movie came out, Chasing Amy, what was that, 98, 99, somewhere around there. And like comics just weren't a part of the mainstream culture. Ben Affleck can never draw that good. Well, that I absolutely believe, yeah. But like it's just important to remember like how there's a stark difference between when like the X-Men and Spider-Man movies came out in 2000 and the 90s, where like there just weren't really comic book movies. And so it was just so cool to see a movie where comic book culture was represented, and not as like a joke. Like this was, the character was just a comic book artist, and so he goes to a comic book convention, and it's there's some jokes about that, but like Kevin Smith just liked comics, he knew comics, and so it's not like a it feels real, and it's just so appreciated. So that movie always has a special place in my heart for that reason. I remember just being really into it. For I didn't even care about the story that much, and I don't even really like Ben Affleck that much. But you know what? It had jokes about inkers being tracers, and the main character was a comic book artist. Like I have to support it just for that. So this is I do like this though. Just that it's the like in universe. It was a great movie. Thank you. Yes, I actually haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember liking it a lot, especially when compared to some of Kevin Smith's other films. But yeah, so it's really cool that like yeah, it's just the in universe comic Chasing Amy. So I really appreciated that. Okay, it's got a few other books that are coming out tomorrow that are just some of my personal faves. I think I've talked about this one every week that it's come out. You have it on VHS. Well, yeah, we'll have to watch it, I guess. Supergirl #4 comes out, and I am loving this Supergirl series, written and drawn by Sophie Campbell. And I mean, just right off the bat, like this cover, I just love the classic feel of these Supergirl comics. Like just they look like I don't know how to say this. Like you either will get this or you won't get it. But this is what comic books look like. Like there's other comics that come out today that they have covers that look like they're movie posters. This is a comic book cover, and I just love it. And yeah, her Sophie Campbell's story has been really great. I really like her depiction of the characters. The ongoing story with like the villain, who on the cover, what's it, Lesla Lar. It's just been really good. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend it. Just That's why I love Sophie. She gets it exactly. She just gets it. So I don't have too much else to say about it other than like it's really good, classic Superman comics. And I've talked about this a lot. How I feel like I really appreciate that DC is leaning into a lot of their more. I don't want to say retro. I think classic is more appropriate. Just classic interpretations of their characters for a lot of their newer stuff. I love that they're getting away from the grim and gritty and like the dark stuff, because I felt like that was always just, I don't know, like an odd fit for DC. It just felt like they've been trying to recreate Crisis on Infinite Earths for the last like 30 years, and I appreciate that they're trying to grow beyond that finally. And in this that spirit, a new comic that is coming out tomorrow. This is a Black Label book, Superman: The Kryptonite Spectrum, right there. I mean, multiple colored kryptonite. That's such a classic Superman thing. This is an interesting book because it is by the creative team behind the Image horror comic called Ice Cream Man. And if you've never read Ice Cream Man, I don't know if I've really talked about it on the stream. I've read a few issues, but I haven't really followed it because I admittedly just don't read a lot of horror comics. But it is pretty popular. As it says on the cover, the acclaimed team behind Ice Cream Man, and it's W. Maxwell Prince and Martin Morazzo, and that's why if you're just like a casual Superman fan, you might pick this up and note that the art looks kind of weird. That's because they do a horror comic, so in the horror comic context, weird art is good. With Superman, it's a little odd, but I really like it. I really like his depiction of Superman as being kind of stocky and bulky. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Frank Quitely's work on All Star Superman, actually, just not quite as what's like not quite as bold a line work. Like it's still like Lex Luthor is just depicted kind of like gaunt and creepy looking. But I really like this. I really like this story. It's just feels to me again like they're playing around with classic versions of Superman, where they just discover all these new colors of kryptonite out in space, and so Superman figures, well, he needs to collect them so that his enemies don't get them, but they also need to study them so they can figure out what they do. Because, and they show it at the beginning, like they're in current continuity, there are currently four types of kryptonite. Classic, the green one, which hurts him and kills him. Red makes him angry. Black splits his brain in two, and gold robs him of his powers. That's like a little bit of an updated version of the classic one. In the Silver Age pre-Crisis Superman comics, the red kryptonite would just like have bizarre, unnatural, unknown effects. Like he turned into like an ant person one time. It's just like weird stuff would happen, and so that's kind of appropriate that they have the guys from Ice Cream Man doing this, because they are playing around with the like kryptonite does weird things to him. And so in this first issue, they are testing the purple kryptonite, and it has this weird effect where it affects his what do they say, like his perception of time. And so the comic starts to be told out of order because he, from his perspective, like he just can't keep track of when the linear events of things that are happening. And it's really weird, and it's really good. Like this is just a great story. There's a lot of action in it. It looks odd, like it looks good. I don't want to say like, I don't mean odd as an insult. It just doesn't look like your normal mainstream Superman comic, and that's why I like it so much, because I like that something has like a unique look to it. So definitely check this out, Superman: The Kryptonite Spectrum. It's a little odd, it's a little weird, but it's also like, the classic Silver Age Superman comics were weird. They did get like strange and odd in some places. So again, just feels appropriate. I love it. All right, I got two more comics we're going to talk about here. I actually don't have a whole lot to say about them, but I'm going to mention them just because they are two of my favorite comics that have been coming out recently. Transformers number 23. Look at this beautiful cover by Daniel Warren Johnson of Ultra Magnus raising the Transformers, the Autobots flag, I should say. This is the penultimate issue of Daniel Warren Johnson's run on Transformers, and this has been 2 years going, and this has just been such a cool comic. Like I've said this before. I was never like that big. Yeah, dang, on 23 already. We really are. I know. I was, as a kid, I was like, I liked Transformers, but I was never the biggest Transformers fan. But this comic, man, this is just such a cool comic. This is so good. I don't even want to flip through too much of it because I don't want to spoil it for you. We're so near the end of the story, but Ultra Magnus comes back, and yeah, he's this his story arc, his character arc has been kind of his wrestling with the nihilism that comes from being in a constant war, and the a little bit of cowardice of like him being afraid that he's just going to lose everything, and he kind of finds his grit and he comes back. Just really really cool comic. I'm really looking forward to the ending, and then gosh, I don't know. I mean, we'll see where it goes. I think we talked about this. Issue 25, Robert Kirkman takes over as the writer, which is interesting because he's a writer that I like, but I don't always love. But Dan Mora is the artist, and I've talked about Dan Mora quite often because he's been drawing a lot of Superman books lately. And yeah, he's a good artist. So definitely a lot of buzz around Transformers. Looking forward to the climax next month. All right, final issue that we're going to talk about. We're going to probably end up cutting this stream short since I'm doing it by myself, and looks like my potential partner wasn't able to show up, but that's okay. Last book, Bug Wars #6. I've been looking forward to this one quite a bit. I like this series a lot, by Jason Aaron and Muhammad Asrar. This is it's basically Honey I Shrunk the Kids meets Conan the Barbarian, and just it's pretty brutal in some places, but in like good ways. Spoiler alert: if you didn't read the last issue, the main character's Slaymaker, his dad reveals himself. He comes back, and he thought he was dead, but it turns out he's just been living in this shrunken bug world this whole time, and they have to go and fight a lot of bug barbarians, and it's just really really cool. Like, it just looks great. Like, oh man, he's got to save his brother because his brother. It's such a simple plot. Like, his brother's mowing the lawn, and so he has this lawnmower, and so the bug people are going to kill him because he's destroying them by mowing the lawn. And yeah, just really really cool. I think what I liked, I was a little concerned because this was a 6 issue series, and it's such a like cool world that Jason Aaron has created here with Bug Worlds, but Bug Wars. It's a cool Bug Wars world, and so I was very happy to see that this is not the end of the series. This is the end of book 1, and then they will be doing a second Bug Wars series to kind of keep the story going, because it doesn't tie up all the loose ends. Like, it leaves it open for some stuff that's more to come. So really looking forward to that. I read a lot of Jason Aaron. He does a lot of good stuff. This is probably one of my favorite books that he's written in a while at least. But yeah, so Bug Wars #6. Check it out. Trade paperback should be on the way soon. All right, everybody, that's everything that I got. We're going to go ahead and just call it early. Thanks for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. There's a lot more comics coming out tomorrow, but there's only so many minutes in the day for me to flip through them. But I think this is the cream of the crop, as it were. And so come on down, Fantasy Books and Games, buy some comics. You get to talk to me, although you won't get to talk to me tomorrow. Spoiler alert, I won't be here, but sorry about that. But yeah, I guess we're going to call it there. See y'all. Thanks. Bye.